So I've used massage guns ranging from $80 to $280, and honestly, it wasn't that big of a difference. I probably wouldn't spend more than $100 USD on one, and if I had to get a new one, I would probably get the one from Bob and Brad. A PT friend of mine who I run with every weekend down the road got it off my recommendation for their clinic and says it's great. And so that's the one I would get. But I think in general, they're mostly pretty standard, unless you go up to like the $300-$400 range, which is absurd. But in my experience, I've used 3 different massage guns, and there wasn't really that big of a difference. Like one was a little quieter, one was a little heavier, stuff like that. But yeah, just go with whatever one you find for $100 if you don't see the Bob and Brad one available, and it's on Amazon.
Yeah, so tips for getting off the sofa, and I totally get it. It's, it's kind of like, it's hard to know when you're done not doing anything. And, accountability and motivation is the hardest part of doing something that's not easy. Overcoming that resistance energy required to start something. And, I tell myself, basically everything I do goes through the filter. Am I going to be glad I did this in 30 minutes, in 3 hours, whatever, in 30 days? And whether it's go for a run, take down the Christmas lights, I maybe don't feel like doing it now, but I'm going to be glad I did it. And the alternative is regret. And nobody has time for regret. And
So when it comes to your legs just getting tight, feeling sore, etc., stuff like that, a few things to keep in mind are that when I have a runner come to me for coaching, the first thing I always do is have the easy run discussion. And if we decide they're not running true easy runs, that's the first thing we work on. Because if you're running too hard too often, you're going to accumulate fatigue, and soreness, tight muscles are just signs that the area has been done well, overdone potentially, and it needs time and opportunity to rest and recover. So make sure your easy runs are truly easy. And if you need more information about that, let me know. But as for recovery, it really comes down to, again, easy runs, good rest days, and getting enough calories in. Also, I like to do 10 minutes of massage gunning every day. That helps. A little bit of strength work also goes a long way.
Okay, quick tip on keeping the man parts down there a little warmer in those cold runs. So typically I run in boxer briefs, but I've noticed this year that simple briefs, they're a little more snug because they don't go down, down the thigh. Briefs are warmer. They keep everything a little more snug, a little more closer in. So in these cold runs like today, especially if there's some wind, I've been opting for briefs instead of boxer briefs, and it helps keep everything a little warmer downstairs.
So when it comes to staying sane on the long run, a few things I do are I try to run with people. And so I have a buddy who we run about an hour every Saturday or Sunday together. So I'll run 8-10 miles before joining him. And so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I run to and from a group run. So that helps as well. I often do out and backs. So if I run 8 miles out, I got to run 8 miles back. I will also often save music or audio books for the last half of a run. That way, running out 8 miles, no big deal. But I save the distraction for when I need it. And so that helps too, is having something to just pay attention to that's not in your head running. But I also like to just be in my head running as well.
So properly fueling an ultra marathon is incredibly important, and just like training the legs, you can train the gut as well. And so, like I just did 16 miles here. I'm training for the Boston Marathon, and I took in a couple Lara bars. So 200 calories per hour. I had a PB&J this morning, and you can get used to taking in those calories, and it does improve your recovery. It improves your performance during training, and it improves the race, of course. Usually, what I recommend is 300 calories per hour, drinking to thirst, and how you take that calorie source in doesn't really matter. I had a runner do 100 miles and he had 37 gels during it. You can use potatoes, you can use bars, you can use PB&Js, whatever works for you works for you.
Okay, taste test of the Wild Joy Goods banana jerky. The ingredients are dried bananas, apple cider vinegar, smoked sea salt, and they are chipotle lime flavored. This will be a taste and a texture review. I don't think I'm going to like the taste. They're bananas. Oh, God. It's like a chewy dried banana. And kind of has a little beef jerky flavor. A little tang, a little zing. But, like, you can tell it's a banana, but if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't think it was a banana. Interesting. I'll finish the bag, but I wouldn't buy it again.
Hey, so I'm a running coach, and how to become a running coach? There are various ways. You could, take a certification test online, go through a course, and pass the test, and boom, you're a certified running coach. I have not done that. I just eventually, while I was in university, earning my degree in nutrition, I started kind of just informally working with people, and eventually I realized, people were coming to me for advice and help, and so I started working with people, and now, over a decade later, I'm a running coach, and that's what I do for a living, and it's amazing. So I will link you to my private group on Facebook where I have some coaches, and we work together to support each other in our businesses so we can better support our runners. So I'll link you to that, and you can check that out and learn some. So beet juice, beetroot juice, the research shows that it maybe helps with some performance gains. Now, do I take it? I'll take it daily the month before a marathon or something. Do I notice anything? No, of course not. The only real supplement that you'll ever really notice would be like caffeine and sugar, honestly. But there's probably no harm in taking beetroot powder, drinking beetroot juice. So I do supplement with it, leading up to in the 4 to 6 weeks before a race. But it's more like a, it can't hurt type of thing versus, I notice the difference. So that's where I stand on that. So, good question. Do massage guns and foam rollers work? And it's maybe a tough question, a tough answer. I will say that people do tend to, at least anecdotally, feel better with good, regular, consistent massaging, foam rolling, etc. You have to do it consistently, though. And I usually tell my clients that I usually recommend they get a massage gun. You can get one for less than $100, and nobody's regretted getting one. And those that do, I think, use it frequently and consistently do feel better because of it. I try to do at least 10 minutes of massage gunning every day. I don't foam roll, and I do believe there's a benefit, and I do recommend getting one. Hey, so it sounds like you just had a tough run. Overtraining is something that is, a constellation of factors that come into play, and it's a long-term thing. If you notice, sleep problems, and your heart rate, resting heart rate is off. You feel like how you felt during this run for 2 weeks. That might be overtraining, but just a single bad run. I wouldn't pay too much attention to it. With the clients I coach, it's important to, not let a single bad run impact how you feel. But if you notice patterns over time, then it's something that you might want to look into. But single bad run, I've had horrible runs, and the run the next day, best run ever. So go with the flow. So with a recurring injury, really, you saw a physio. They probably told you, oh, this is wrong, do these exercises. But for me as a running coach, I have recently injured runners come to me, and with them, I'll often take their physical therapy exercises, implement those. But for me as a running coach, I look at their training habits. Are you not eating enough calories? Are you running too hard too often? Are you running too much volume? Are you doing zero strength and mobility work? Stuff like that. So it's not just, we look at your running form, your running technique, all these little things. Physios are very important, but they often just look at the anatomy and give you exercises. So I can run in pretty much any shoe. I'm not picky about brands for this is a cheap running, most of my stuff is secondhand, like this secondhand hat, whatever. But I only wear Injinji toe socks. And I feel like in the long runs, they keep my feet blister free because they keep the toes separated. They keep my feet cooler in the summer, because think about like wearing mittens, like normal socks are. Mittens are going to keep your feet warmer. Even just walking around in traditionally shaped socks, my feet feel warmer. And so they keep my feet cooler in the summer. They keep my feet cleaner because they wick the sweat off of your skin better. So I think they're a win-win, and I think they're the way to go. Okay, so some of my favorite running music is actually from this group or guy, I don't know, called, Two Friends, I think? But the music is called Big Booty Remix, and there's like 20 volumes or whatever, and they remix just like popular music over the decades, I think, from the last maybe 30 years. So you'll hear various remixes within these like hour-long remixes. So it's a nice variety of music. You've probably heard, it include Avril Lavigne and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Katy Perry, all in the same kind of remix. So I like to listen to those. I don't listen to that just in general, but it's good running music because it's a big variety and it's upbeat. Okay, so when it comes to, consistency and motivation with running, I always say that it's the same with any consistency with anything you want to do. And, my definition of motivation is having empathy with your future self. And, knowing that getting your gear ready the night before a morning run, knowing that no matter how cold you think it is outside, you're going to be glad you went out and did it. You just got to go out and do it. And, the other alternative is you're going to regret not getting out there and doing it. And regret sucks. And so, use that motivation to make going for a run easier. Motivate yourself to prep your gear to make the activation energy required to go run less, because your gear is all ready to go. I do group runs 3 times a week. It helps with that commitment. A running coach like me is good for motivation and accountability. Okay, so good on you for looking at getting a coach. And, I always tell, as a coach, people that are curious about working with somebody that, you don't wait until you can swim
to hire a swimming coach, or you don't wait until you speak fluent Spanish to hire a tutor. You start swimming lessons in grade school. You start Spanish lessons preferably when you're young, and I think it should be the same with running. Just because you're not super fast or whatever doesn't mean you can't benefit from having some accountability, some motivation, having somebody throw new ideas at you, working on your mindset, your nutrition, your strength work, all that good stuff. It's going to be beneficial for you.
So when it comes to fueling marathon long runs and the marathon itself, something I usually recommend to my runners is that, the research really shows that the better you fuel in training the long runs, the better you train your gut to use and handle those calories, and the better you're going to run your long runs, the better you're going to recover, the better you're going to run on race day. And so typically what I recommend are gels or gummies are really nice, and try to get in 200 to 300 calories per hour. That's a gel every 20 minutes. But if you want to fuel appropriately, you want to run, recover well, and that will do the trick. Now, during training, I'm more inclined to use like granola bars, dried dates, or apricots, but I move into the gels closer to the event.
So I've worn I'm actually size, in my old pair, size 9. The sizing varies between 9 and 10 in what I wear, depending on the shoe, the brand, etc. But I've worn the 1.5 differential sizing in women's, and it's fine. Some brands have, like, maybe the women's shoe is a bit narrower or something like that, but it's really not that big of a deal. If it fits and feels comfortable, good to go. Like Nike has some unisex shoes. Some brands have unisex shoes. Some say, our women's shoes are slightly different, but their feet and comfort is king when it comes to your shoe selection. And so if you find some women's shoes on sale because the sizing is high, then go for it.